Okay, thank you, Connie and Antonella and William and Keiretsu Forum, and thank you for being here today. It's been an exciting week. So, Vets and Pets, we create CBD products for us to live our best lives. And the pain point, we have a major issue in this country. PTSD and anxiety ruins lives. The symptoms are debilitating, can even lead to suicide, yet there's no safe, standard solution.
And many of our pets are suffering too. Chronic pain and anxiety can shorten lifespans and otherwise hinder normal quality of life. And it doesn't have to be this way. We have a solution.
We do. We now have a solution, and it's CBD. Our Vets and Pets Veterans Mints and Pet Treats are CBD only, so they're non-psychoactive. They do not make you high or your doggy. And they relieve the PTSD symptoms, stress, anxiety, and even pain because they're anti-inflammatory.
And at Vets and Pets, we use a proprietary CBD blend that was inspired by my brother, who is a U.S. Army veteran who suffers from PTSD. And in 2014, when Colorado legalized cannabis, he moved there immediately, and he began to treat his PTSD with both cannabinoid and canine therapy, i.e. he built a grow house and he adopted 6 puppies. And it worked for him. And it worked for all of his Army buddies who would come help harvest with their newly adopted dogs. And it was then that I realized that I was seeing this newly forming segment of society, which was veterans who were treating their PTSD symptoms with both cannabis and companion dogs. And it worked so well for them, I went back to East Coast and I started making CBD treats for my 2 rescue dogs.
Yep. And you may have also seen in the news that CBD, again, it's safe. It's not addictive. You can't overdose. And it's multimodal as well, so it's an anti-inflammatory. We are the only product target marketed to veterans and pets. And you might be saying, what's that connection? But there's a great connection. And it's a huge market. So the Pentagon alone spends $8.4 billion a year on mental health issues. And $200 million of that is earmarked for suicide prevention. And in the last few years, there's been a great uptick, over 50% of active military diagnosed with PTSD. I mean, you know, that's too much to not have a safe and standard solution. Also noted now, since January 1st, you can sell CBD-only products in all 50 states and ship them to all 50 states as well. So brick and mortar sales, they're going into drugstores, Whole Foods, and you can sell. They're sold online on Amazon, and we can ship direct to all 50 states. So our primary target market, again, is veterans and pets. Our secondary target market are all who suffer stress and anxiety, which is 45 million adults diagnosed with PTSD in the States, and 100 million pets who suffer severe stress and anxiety.
And 67% of American families include at least one pet. Last year, we pet owners spent $45 billion on ingestibles alone, and 140 million of that was on CBD products. That number is just going to keep rising and rising as more people discover the therapeutic value of CBD.
And again, it's safe and effective. Recent clinical studies, we have some of the links here, and we can send to you as well, by the National Institute of Health are showing great results, as well as the American Veterinary Association clinical studies. A recent study at Cornell University showing great success with not only stress and anxiety in pets, but osteoarthritis. So, you know, as the studies come out, the market is only going to be
expanding,
healthier. So, and there's very little competition at this point. For our pets treats, there's only a small handful targeting the benefits of stress and relief for our pets. And there is not yet any competition target marketing to veterans. And there's only a small handful, 6 products right now, that deliver the benefits of CBD in a mint form. So our unique selling proposition, again, we're a unique proprietary blend created by veterans for veterans and their pets. So and he's a family member. Our brand story is genuine and unique. And our ingredients are also unique. We're adding health boosting ingredients like seaweed and fish oils. Our marketing strategy includes a user-generated content marketing campaign. So those are the campaigns you see where people are posting, pet pictures, and who doesn't love great puppy pictures. But also we'll be having, obviously, our first target market demo of our military, sending in their stories and making them the stars of our brand.
We'll also align with nonprofits that work directly with that primary target audience. Organizations such as Canines for Warriors, Pets for Patriots, Paws and Stripes. All of these organizations were founded to place the perfect companion pet with vets who are suffering.
Mm-hmm. And they already have a great reach in the market.
Okay, the team. This is why we know we can do this. I bring my unique experience working in veterinary hospitals and my love for cooking. My brother, as I mentioned already, is our inspiration, and he introduced us to the wellness through CBD for both humans and animals.
Yes. And I bring decades of experience in direct-to-consumer product launches and marketing as a strategist, producer, and for some of these brands, which you may recognize. Our CFO and COO, Dave Mikulski, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today because he has a day job at a very cool high-growth company called Prohibited Media, which is the Amazon and Netflix of the cannabis industry, and he's running sales operations there. He's also had great success for decades running sales and operations teams at ADT and Horizon Publications and more.
Our head of sales and brand ambassador is Captain Dylan Alexander Mack. He is a West Point graduate who also suffers PTSD from his time served in Iraq. Currently, he is executive director of Veterans Career Exchange.
Just to note, I wanted to show you some of the direct-to-consumer marketing campaigns just in the last few years that I have created for brands that you may not recognize. Most recently, Dr. Kirkland, which is a CBD product. So it helped me get immersed in the industry and know the compliances and regulations of marketing products. Also, and another thing to note here is, again, you may not recognize these products, but even one of them, which is a menopause supplement, talk about niche, makes over $200,000 a month in revenues.
So you might not recognize those, but you'll recognize these. Susan and I met years ago working on commercials and content for these iconic brands and artists.
Yep. So we do know how to do this. Our business model, we have multiple revenue streams, direct consumer sales being one, online retailers like Amazon, festivals and events, which you need to go out to now and have that high-touch activity with your customers, as well as eventually brick and mortar sales. Our price point is right in the sweet spot of our competition, lower than most, and our sales and distribution will include continuity programs. And we have great relationships with the direct-to-consumer fulfillment houses, so we know how to get this out to the mass market. Then the green rush is on. So it's created a niche industry of what I mentioned earlier, marketing and sales companies that deal in the cannabis industry and also have immediate reach of millions of customers that we will be partnering with, and that currently our COO is at his day job at.
Now they're niche, but rapidly becoming mainstream.
That's right.
Even as we speak.
Exactly. So our profit margin is a very healthy 63% on our pet treats and a 64% on our veterans mints. And where we're at, so we're queued up and ready to go. We have our manufacturer deals ready to go. We're getting our product samples soon and getting them out to testing for our certificates of analysis, which are very important. Our branding and strategy queued up. We're ready to launch website once we lock in our logo design. We will be launching in our first 6-month startup phase, which we know is a quick startup, but because we're all queued up and ready to go, we'll be launching a social and digital marketing campaign during our startup phase to create brand awareness, which is including aligning with the foundations Katie mentioned earlier, creating our commercials and content, getting our user-generated campaign going. And so that day one, year one of operations, we do our big media buy and marketing blitz and start sales.
And then after that initial rollout, we'll be ramping up to launch a cat treat and a second veterans mint Long term, we're thinking about potential health and beauty products, but definitely expansion into international markets as the laws change and open up.
So our financial projections, we've built a very detailed business model, and we kept our gross margin percentage somewhat conservative across the 3 years. We think we can do better in year 2 and 3 with efficiencies and higher volumes, but for now we factored in at 63%. And you'll see in our first year of revenues are just over $1 million. That includes the expenditures of our 6-month startup. And also we will be at break even around month 9, so that in month 10 we're actually making, in the positive. So today we're raising $1.2 million with a 3-phased funding schedule. We're asking for $500,000 in Q4 2018 to really get started, and then Q1 2019 a investment of $350,000, and that will get us through the 6-month startup phase. Then a third investment of $350,000 in Q2 2019, but that's when we're also into year 1, first year of operations. So that's part to our working capital. And for that, we're offering a third of vets and pets.
And to incentivize investment, we are offering a 10% discount for first monies in this quarter, Q4 2018. So this is just a snapshot of how we envision our initial product line.
So invest in vets and pets. We're a homegrown family, all-American brand, lifelong friends, family. We're passionate about sharing the benefits of CBD. Nobody should be living with stress and anxiety. And we know our customer. We know our competition. We know that timing is everything. The green rush is on and timing is now. And again, we are target marketing to a newly identified segment of society, which are veterans and their pets who are suffering as our primary target market.
The timing also coincides with new legislation, which will greatly increase the number of American farmers who can grow hemp, which is great for our company and also for our larger mission of spreading CBD wellness.
Right. You may have noticed the entire country of Canada is now legal, so that should be interesting case studies for us. So our compound annual growth rate is at 94.2%, and our exit strategy is IPO or acquisition by an industry-related company.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Susan and I and the whole team at Vets and Pets hope to be working with you.
Thank you.